And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition of the OSC Season 12 Championship Low Bracket Round number 2. I'm, of course, OSC VIP with you. I'm joined by the amazing player, by the people in the chat, by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to our first broadcast of the day. Oh my god, of course, last night we were live with the Sparkling Tuna Cup. Shout out to Kozen. I was able to cast, able to spend the night with Kozen. It was a great time. It was a beautiful broadcast. Now we are back with our regular scheduled broadcasting. Here we go. OSC Season 12 Championship is an event that has been running for the past month. We have been slowly working through the bracket as well. We wrapped up with low bracket round 1. Now we're here with the low bracket round number 2. We have a pure best of 5s as well. It's a lot of matches, a lot of games, a lot of StarCraft is coming up ahead of us, and let's have a look together at all the matches to come. Let's go. Let us go. As I switch teams over, as we catch up on the matches themselves, here we go. We have 4 best of 5s. We have 4 best of 5s. We have a plethora of Protoss as well, as to be expected, as always, Papi, as always. We start things off with Classic versus Arrogfire in a PvP, followed by Creator versus Mixu in a PvZ, Honmono versus Night Phoenix, followed and ending the night with Middle VK versus Mana. Oh boy. Now in low bracket round 2, there's actually 8 best of 5s. There's 8 matches, so we're going to be actually splitting this broadcast up into 2 days, covering all 8 matches. I could do it in a broadcast. I definitely could, but today's a really busy day, so it's probably unwise. it's probably unwise to do so. What do I mean by that? Why do I mean by that? Here we go. We have the schedule here today. Today's Monday. We have the first broadcast so far. We have the OSC the OSC Season 12 Championship here at 9 AM KST, followed by the Fairy Cup. That's going to be at 6 PM KST, and then the Wardy TV Monday at 9 PM KST. So we have 3 broadcasts today. If we only had 2 broadcasts, or even just 1, then I would consider casting all 8 matches here and now. But because of the non-stop casting that we have, I do want a break in between OSC and Fairy Cup. I do want a bit of a break. I do want to nap and get some rest in between, if at all possible. So because of that, we are cutting the broadcast in 2, and you actually see on Tuesday, that's the second half. So we have the first half, the first 4 best of 5s here and now, and we have the next set of best of 5s over on Tuesday instead, Tuesday afternoon at 7 PM KST. So that is the plan. That is how we're looking to approach things coming in towards the week. Again, you can see all the other broadcasts throughout the week as well. We have Elite League, we have Sparkling Tuna Cup, we have MSO, we have Kung Fu Cup, the Warcraft 3 edition, we have the Podcast, we have Code for Giants. Plenty of content. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft, as always, live every day, multiple times a day. It's how we do here on the CranKy Ducklings. And again, we start things off with the low bracket round 2. Oh boy. And we kick things off with a PvP. So Classic versus Arrogfire is going to be an interesting one. Classic going to be coming in as the favorite player, of course. He is the heavy favorite to make a deep run, and to advance on into the next round. Arrogfire, he's an interesting player here just because he was on a big hiatus. He had left for quite some time. He is recently returning to the competitive scene, recently returning to joining Alien Esports as well. He has been on that grind. He's been looking very strong as of late, but still kind of rising the ranks, still improving. I still have a really hard time at placing Arrogfire amongst the other players at the moment. He's been spiking up when it comes to some big results. I still do place him, a bit under players like Geralt and Jumi and Christiana, but we'll see how Arrogfire performs here against Creator. We shall see. Sorry, against Classic, I meant to say. Creator's next. So much Protoss. they're all blending together, Pappy. Oh my god. We're jumping into game 1. Game 1 is going to be here on Ultra Love. Let's go. So we are jumping in. Just catching up with the chats. I do see Noam Chomsky, Psycons as well. Babylings, hello, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Good morning. Good to see you all. Fried Fish as well. Welcome. And Bromista. And here we go. We're jumping into our fresh episode 5, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the French Protoss player, the purple Protoss, rocking his old clan tag, but representing Alien Esports. It is Arrogfire. we go. We are going to be settling into our first PvP of the day. Our first of many, I'm sure. Don't you worry. We'll be all over it, Pappy. We'll be all over it. As we are going to be settling in. And so far, welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Ultra Love, of course, being one of the more macro maps in the PvP map pool. What I mean by that, there's a ramp. There's a ramp coming into the natural, which means it is safe to go for this kind of setup. A gate into Cybercore, into Nexus, a greedy opener here, a greedy setup, economic setup for Classic. I should say the same for Arrogfire, but interesting. Arrogfire, he does set up on the high ground instead. He's going for the gateways on top of the ramp into a more aggressive start here. Now, Classic does confirm. He does confirm. Now, the likelihood, the chances of this turning into a one-base all-in is there. There is a chance this could turn into an all-in. Classic is aware of that, and Classic should be playing this safe. We should be seeing a Stargate before Nexus. As Arrogfire does hide his probe, does hide his pylon. The pylon is thrown down, but it's thrown down closer to the Arrogfire side of the map. So I don't know if this is really going to be a committed proxy here. It's very far away for a proxy robo. Yeah, very far out there. Likewise, probe does dip into the main base. We have these zealots on the way to focus on that pylon. And we are going to be committing to a proxy gateway. Interesting. So we have one gate to the main. We have one gateway proxied. And we're going to commit into a... Okay, it is a one-base all-in. Curious. Now this is quite far away, but maybe because it's further away, it's less likely to be scouted here, so this could still work out well for Arrogfire, especially if Classic does skip his tech. But there it is. Stargate gets thrown down before the Nexus, so this is going to be a more safe start here for Classic. With this, he scouts as well. Big moment here for Classic. Gets eyes on the pylon, the robo, the 2 gate here set up. It's going to be 3 gate robo out of Arrogfire, and the Zealot is arrived. The Zealot has arrived, going straight for the pylon. And do we have anything to defend this? A Stalker has arrived, waddling across the map. The pylon taking a lot of hits already, and Classic, he's completely shutting this down. The pylon, it should fall. There's a backup pylon on the way. I mean, there's no other way out of this for Arrogfire. He cannot transition. He has to commit. Does have to commit. Pylon goes down. Depowers the production. Another Stalker has arrived. You can see here Arrogfire is under fire. Being forced further back. Yeah, he's being forced further back. Classic, he will win this trade. At the same time, Zealots going for the pylon. At least they should. As Zealot, there we go, does redirect. Stalker takes a lot of damage. Classic has to back off. Should have a reinforcing Stalker on the way. Regardless, did delay. Now has to retreat. Oh, he wants that Stalker. Up! He wants it. Oh my god, a 1-to-1 trade. A better trade for Classic, considering the Arrogfire's all in. The pylon is safe, and the proxy will continue back at home in Void Ray. It's going to be Void Ray first. 1 Void Ray has already arrived. 2nd Void Ray is on the way. Classic looking very secure. We should be seeing shield batteries, and even more shield batteries. Oh boy. Now, when it comes to Arrogfire, he can go for the Prism. Yeah, Prism's on the way, which means Arrogfire, he can actually rotate between the natural and the main. He doesn't have to strike one location. That's why the shield battery is where it is. It is placed in between the bases, so it can support both the main and the natural. And it's going to be up to Arrogfire here to avoid that Void Ray, to keep that Prism alive. Easier said than done. Oh boy. Arrogfire does poke in. He's got 8 Stalkers. Jesus, has a lot of Stalkers. 8 Stalkers for Arrogfire. Classic trying to hold on. He's up to 2 Void Rays. Extra Warp Winds. Does wall up. Has the Sentry. Has a Force Field. And even the NG Overcharge as well. Does get the Overcharge. Void Ray threatening a dive. 2nd shield battery is finishing up. Stalker's taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. Up. Arrogfire trying to force his way through. Last does pick away at one of those Void Rays, but so far barely any hull damage. Classic is looking secure. As is getting a 4th Void Ray. Arrogfire, he's slowly building up that soul count, but again, he was delayed. Up. Chipping away at the Cybercore. Cybercore taking a lot of hits, does dive in. And gets 1 Void Ray. 1 Void Ray goes down. Nice Force Fields looking down the Stalkers. Nice juggling though out of Arrogfire. Does save almost everything. Yeah, losing 1 Stalker so far. Up! And he gets a 2nd Void. 2nd Void Ray goes down to 1. And Arrogfire, he's forcing his way through. Barely not able to get himself that Cybercore. Cybercore barely surviving a little bit longer. Extra Stalker Warpins. Oh, and these shield batteries are a little bit late here. Shield batteries are too late for Classic. Oh, once again, another Void Ray goes down to one. One Void Ray left, and Arrogfire, has he done it? He's breaking through the shield batteries out of energy. Again, the late overcharge, late energy overcharge. GG gets called, and despite being scouted, despite being slowed down, Arrogfire will take a lead in the series. Let's go. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Arrogfire does take a lead, and with that, we're now going to be jumping into game 2. Let's go. Does take a lead. Impressive stuff here. Again, the backup shield batteries were delayed for Classic, I will say that. They were far later, and he did need them desperately. Likewise, it was a shame to see the NG overcharge a little bit late as well. As we saw, it was thrown down after the Void Ray had been sniped, so a bit of a lapse in control there from Classic did slip up, and with that, Arrogfire did overwhelm. Let's go. Let us go. I see someone asking in the chat, since when a Void Ray is a thing in PvP? If you haven't been watching PvP or Protoss for the past 5 years, then maybe you haven't seen any, but Void Rays are very common when it comes to early game defense. When you go for a Stargate opener, because you're stuck with the Stargate, you can't make Oracles or Phoenixes. They will not help you in that kind of setup, but Void Rays are only seen defensively in PvP. If you've been watching Max Packs, for example, Max Packs is very, very fond of them when it comes to his typical openers. Again, ever since like the COVID era of StarCraft, like 2020, like end of 2019 into 2020 is when we did see them kind of rise in popularity. But here we go, we're getting into our next game and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Whispers of Gold. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player, the French Protoss, representing Elite Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Arrogfire. But yeah, specifically in that situation, when you're up against an all-in, when your opponent's all-inning you, and if you have a Stargate, you need Void Rays, because it's, what else can you make, right? The alternative would be, of course, if you had like a Robo, ideally you'd have Immortal production, but with a Stargate, that's kind of what you're stuck with. Likewise, in that situation as well, you have to be very careful with how you activate your prismatic alignment when it comes to your Void Rays, just because they're perfect when it comes to dealing with Stalkers, but they also lock you down as they slow the units as well, so you have to be very careful when and how you use them, making sure that you always have one available when your opponent's trying to dive in. There's a lot that comes into it, but for now, we're getting into game 2, and we see Classic opening up with a proxy of his own. Let's go. The turns have tabled. Arrogfire took a lead in the series, but now it's time for Classic to commit, as the probe does stick around. Now, based on its location, this wouldn't be a bad location for a proxy Stargate, but, I mean, likewise, a proxy Robo is also going to be viable here. We'll see how hard Classic does commit, waiting for the Cybercore to finish. Cybercore's now done. What do you have for us? Proxy Robo. Let's go. One base all in. So now the turns of table. Now it's going to be Arrogfire's turn to defend. We'll see if he can survive this. We'll see if he can hold. Now, because of the 2-gate opener, Arrogfire, he has the option. If he realizes what's going on in time, you can see he's looking. He's scouting. Arrogfire, he checked the main base. He saw that the second pylon was missing. He knows that there's a proxy pylon somewhere, and he's looking. He's checking on the left-hand side for a proxy pylon. He should be sending out a second probe towards the right-hand side as well, as he's opening up with a Twilight Council. Rough move here for Arrogfire. I mean, at least he isn't expanding, that is true, but Blink may not be a factor in this initial defense. The ideal would be, you realize something is wrong, play it safe, open up Robo. For now, Hallucination moves out. Again, he's still looking for the proxy. Probe is still active as well, checking for an expansion. As we know, there is just a one base all in, but Arrogfire is still trying to determine that. Does zip in, does get past, and now he knows. Now he knows. He sees nothing in the main and nothing in the natural. He doesn't know exactly what's being proxied, but he knows that there is an all-in coming, or there is a proxy out on the map. So back at home, Gateway, Shield Battery. Good response. Good response so far. Getting a Shield Battery, getting Gateway as well. Ooh, Adepts do shade in, but they shouldn't commit. Just keeping an eye on the setup here of his opponent. Blink has begun, but again, it's going to take a while for Blink to really come online. And here comes Classic. The Prism has already arrived, and Immortal production well underway. Here we go. As a Classic is making his way into the mineral line. Two adepts, they one-shot probes. So they one-shot workers. As a Classic does make his way into the natural. Oh, getting one. Getting two probes already, not bad. And he does a shade out of there. Three probes go down. Does shade away. Very efficient pickoffs here by Classic. From here he rotates. Immortal has arrived. And Blink is halfway done. Blink is halfway done. The fight is about to occur. Now, Arrogfire has to be so careful about these force fields. Remember, without Blink Stalkers, these force fields, they can completely lock down an army. Pylon's going to get picked up. At F6, shed into the mineral line. Probe's going to be going down. Boys are being pulled. He's going for the pylons. He get one, he gets two. Two pylons going down, and he will depower two of the gateways. Brutal pickoffs. Arrogfire, he can warp in one stalker at a time. He's supply blocked. He's supply blocked as well. Blink is soon to finish. And Classic, he still has some force fields available. He has one more. The counter force field here out of Arrogfire. Second Immortal has arrived. So far, good juggling here by Classic. Does pull away. Gateways are repowered. Arrogfire no longer supply blocked. He can warp in. But the first gateway is going to fall. Down to two gates. Two gates left. Blink about to finish. Which means Arrogfire can dive in. Can poke forward. But the second gateway now under fire as well. Yeah, getting a second gate. Third Immortal has arrived. Now, if Arrogfire can snipe the War Prism, then maybe... Oh, speaking of, he gets one. No, he doesn't quite get the second volley. Gets one volley up. The Prism barely survives. One shot away from going down. And now he can still reinforce. He goes to the dive. He does blink down to low ground. But the production is under fire. Was that worth it? Is it too late? Boys are being pulled. There's still three Immortals. One Immortal goes down. Nice target firing at a Classic. As he takes out another Stalker. Two Stalkers left. It looks like Classic, he's done it. He has overwhelmed. GG gets called, and Classic, he will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. We have a PvP. We have... Let's go. Game 1, we have a committed proxy out of Arrogfire. Does overwhelm. Game 2, it is, of course, Classic's turn. Game 3, do we proxy each other, or do we get it out of our system? Do we calm things down, and do we enter a more macro game instead? We'll keep an eye on our players. So far, we haven't tied things up. No clear lead yet from either player, but something that is clear, the cheese, the proxies. Let's go. That's really what we're here for, you know? That's why we love PvP, is the non-stop aggression. And now we're jumping into game number 3. We're going to be loading into ley lines. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss from the land of South Korea. Tying things up 1-1, it is Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player from the land of France. Representing Elite Esports, it is Arrogfire. Here we go. As we are going to be settling in. And once again, because there's no ramp coming into the natural, we are going for our typical 2-gate opener. 2-gate setup out of Arrogfire, 2-gate setup out of Classic. The question becomes, do we proxy a pylon? And even if we proxy a pylon, do we commit, or do we try to fake out our opponent? Sorry, I should get rid of the tuner. Shout out to the tuner, though. That was our last night's broadcast. We'll remove that for the next game. We'll try to remember. Sparkling tunic up. But yeah, like something like a fake proxy pylon, I think would do well here, considering how the series has gone so far. Clearly, both players have shown the willingness to be aggressive and to proxy and to cheese. So we could try to fake each other out. For now, Arrogfire, he dives into the main base. He's looking for that second pylon, and it looks like Classic will hide it. Okay, Classic, he will hide the pylon. Based on its location, looks to be a fake proxy pylon. This wouldn't be the worst location for a Stargate, but this should not be a gateway or a robo. So this is not a one-base all-in. As opposed to what's been happening so far in the series, this looks like, yeah, just just regular fake proxy pylon. The probe does not stick around, so the reason why the pylon is placed out here in the corner of the map is because in the early game with your scouting probe, you're counting pylons. You're counting pylons, you know that there should be a pylon right now because of how supply works, of course, and it's not here. So now he confirms the pylon is missing, and based on how this series has gone, the chances of this being a proxy is quite high, and ideally, Classic wants to force Arrogfire to overreact. So mind games, basically. Mind games here across the map. Classic doesn't even probe scout, so once again makes it look like his probe is doing other things. Is up to no good. And it is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Arrogfire. This, I think, is going to fare better. If you recall in the last game, I had a little bit of dismay when we saw the initial Twilight Council. It's not really a defensive start here, and as we saw, it wasn't really applicable to the last game when it came to the early game defense. Coming into a longer game, though, I think this is a good risk that Arrogfire is taking, or I should say the outcome is going to be a little bit better here for him as he's working towards a faster blink. Classic is going to be the first to expand. Arrogfire's base is going to be delayed, but he will at least have faster blink stalkers coming online. As Arrogfire, you can see he's looking for the pylon, he's scouting, he barely missed the pylon, barely did miss it. So Arrogfire, he's actually moving out the hallucination as well, being very persistent when it comes to his scouting. Checks with the hallucination, checks with the probe, moves out with the army, and now he confirms the expansion. Now he knows it is a fake, and now the pressure is on Arrogfire to move out. He does need a counterattack, and we'll see what he can get done. Classic back at home. Shield battery, sorry, is not on the way. That's a second pylon. But he does have a force field. He's a guardian shield as well. See what he goes for. Arrogfire, he has more DPS. Oh, pokes in. Third stalker has arrived. Classic with the defender's advantage. And Arrogfire, he has to back off. He has to pull away. Ooh, so far so good. Classic, he holds. Does hold on. Shouldn't chase this too far out, as he's going to be heading over halfway across the map. Oh! Yo, the high ground vision. Let's go. For Classic. He wants to push in, takes out the sentry. Nice pickup. Sentry goes down. Trading with the main army. Gonna get a stalker as well. Trading 1-for-1. They're losing another stalker. But for the cost of a sentry, this I don't think was the best trade here for Classic, I'll be honest. Did get 2 stalkers though, so actually, never mind. It was a better trade. Did the stalker. Meanwhile, Arrogfire throwing down a proxy in the center of the map. Oh my god. Okay, behind this, remember, Blink is almost done. Because of this timing, there is a window where Arrogfire has Blink and Classic does not. It's a small window, but a window nonetheless. And Arrogfire, he's pushing in. He wants to make use of this. He wants to make use of this Blink timing. Let's go. Behind this, he did expand. He does have an economy. But he's hoping to break Classic here and now. Shield battery's not done. Oh, finishing up just in time. Oh, not to save the stalker though. One stalker goes down. Classic trying to move out, gets punished. Stalker taking a lot of damage. Blink is revealed. And the Blink is now done for Classic. So Classic, he holds. Did lose one stalker, did lose his energy on the shield battery, but he does hold. And behind this, do you see what I see? I see a Dark Shrine being proxied. Initially, this was a fake proxy pylon. Much later, it's actually being used. So Dark Shrine has been placed. Adepts, they get across the map. Probe's going to be going down. So far, it's going to be 6 probe kills. 7. This is game ending. This is brutal. This is 7 probes already falling down. You can get 8, 9, 10, up to 11 probe kills. Oh my god. And he's getting them. Meanwhile, across the map, Arrogfire, he's distracted. Engaging with the main army, trying to break through. And while he's distracted, he will lose everything. He'll lose every single probe. And Arrogfire, he's falling apart here. Even without the DTs, things are looking bleak. GG gets called as Classic will pull Arrogfire apart. And Classic takes a lead 2-1 in the best of 5. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, the proxy Dark Shrine wasn't even necessary there. Unfortunately, Arrogfire, he was hyper committed to his blink control across the map, to his aggression. Alas, Classic, he slipped by. He slipped by with those adepts. He was able to slip into the mineral line, able to wreak havoc. That was game-ending damage. Remember, that was 11 probes. 11 workers went down to those 2 adepts. And we saw that Classic was able to out-control the Stalker army in the center of the map as well. Things were, going south on both ends there for Arrogfire. And with that, Classic is now on match point. It's been a fast series, I'll be honest. It's been a fast series so far. This time, we didn't see one base all-ins, but we still saw aggression. It was still an aggressive game nonetheless. we'll see what map 4 has in store for us. Where we dropping? Frostline. Interesting. Frostline is going to be coming up next. It's going to be one of the larger maps in the map pool. Because it's larger, there are little locations for proxies if you wanted to go that route. Likewise, the natural, the third base are less defendable. We'll get into it. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the red Protoss player. The South Korean Protoss leading the series 2-1, one game away from advancing on into the next round. It is a classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player from Atlanta, France, representing Alien Esports. It is Arrogfire. Here we go. As we have seen fake and real proxy pylons this entire series, every single game so far, we'll see where we throw them down this time. Oh, god damn it, I forgot to get rid of the tuna. God damn it. After this game, I'll try to remember. I'll do my best. It's not your time, Bobby. It's not your time. It was yesterday. Este tuna. As we are moving out. Arrogfire once again coming with the probe scouts. The first pylon is placed. And does Classic proxy his second pylon? That is the question. Does he proxy or does... Nope, the answer is no. Probe is... Oh, sorry, my apologies. I thought we were moving out to throw down the pylon in between the bases, in between the gases. Not the case. Classic is hiding his probe and he is hiding his pylon once again. And again, because of how this series has played out, I mean... Where's your mind at for Arrogfire, right? Like, is it is it real? Is it fake? I feel like we have to open up Robo, right? It has to be a Robo-based opener this time. The Twilight Council was not really ideal last game, even in a game where Classic didn't cheese initially. Pylon is done. Classic is stuck around, waiting for the Cybercore. Cybercore is still seconds away from finishing. And Arrogfire, he confirms that the pylon is missing. He knows. Cybercore is done. Proxy Robo, one base all in. And this I'm all for. Arrogfire, for the first time in the series, he sees that a pylon is missing and he opens up Robo. Safe opener. Very safe opener here by Arrogfire. We're done with the Twilight Council. We're done with the Blink-based play. We're done with that. Robo into Immortal production. This is the most defensive opener you can go for here from the side of Arrogfire. This time he doesn't take any chances. Even though he hasn't seen what's going on, I mean, he's up against the wall, right? Classic's on match point. We can't afford any more losses. Not for Arrogfire. And we'll see if he can survive. We'll see if he can hold. Now, the way this works here is essentially we should have an equivalent immortal count. Yes, on the one hand, Classic is Robo's faster, true, so his production is faster, but Arrogfire has a defender's advantage. So because of that, he's going to be able to bring them out a lot sooner. And that's to move out. Arrogfire, he barely does miss the proxy. Ay. Does barely miss it, but is moving out across the map. He's going to be threading the bases here of Classic. Classic will keep up, though. He will show away the Adepts. Adepts, they come in for the scouts, and they should confirm there is no natural. Yeah, he checks. Checks, no natural base. He knows something is wrong. He's now aware. Arrogfire moving out with his prism. Trying to harass across the map, and based on his movement here, it looks like he will find the proxy. There we go. He finds the Robo. He knows what's going on. Immortal production has begun. He has the high ground. He has sentries, force fields. He's ready. At the same time, though, Classic diving into the main, avoiding the ramp. Coming in with 4 stalkers. Shield batteries on the way. It's too late. The Immortal has arrived. Going for the sentry. Oh no! They get trapped. First sentry goes down. Massive pickup. Yeah, no Guardian Shield, no force field. Better trade for Classic. Arrogfire taking a lot of early hits here, a lot of early losses. Meanwhile, across the map, does get into the mineral line. He gets, what, 4 probes. Not bad. Did I say 4? Getting even more. Yeah, 5, 6, 7 probes going down. Can then save the Adepts. At the same time, Classic trying to force his way in. There's the recall back home. The Immortal! Oh my god. Takes a bit of hull damage. Does survive. Flush moves there to Classic, saving the Immortal. Likewise, Arrogfire locking down the army. Building up his own Immortal count. And again, the armies are comparable with each other. But Arrogfire has shield batteries. Yeah, shield batteries, he has the defense advantage. Oh! Immortal takes a lot of hits. Stalkers, they poke up the ramp. Going for the pylon. Once again, a lot of hold damage here on the Immortal. Pylon does go down, deep in the gateways. Brutal pickoffs. Arrogfire having a hard time keeping up. Pylon goes down, supply blocking Arrogfire. Losing 2 pylons. Bit of miscontrol here. The Prism is getting very exposed. Has to pull away. Get the Stalker, not bad. Oh. The Prism taking a lot of fire. But does get away. Whew. Does barely pull out. The rest of the army does come in to reinforce. The Immortals of Classic are very low. Yeah, they're 1 shot away from going down. Yeah, they're so close to falling. Flush control. Arrogfire saves the Immortal, and meanwhile Classic loses 2, losing everything. 1 Immortal left. And Classic just taking so much hold damage on those Immortals earlier, but he was taking the pylon down here towards the right hand side. Took too much damage, too many losses. And Classic is running out of steam. 1 final Immortal left. He's making another. But the pylons are under fire. Classic out of position. 1 pylon goes down. Depowers the robo. Classic behind this, throwing down the Stargate. He's trying to transition. Trying to get out of this. Classic getting supply blocked. Still commits. Still moves in. Has to be so careful though. Yeah, losing a Stalker. Guys diving into the main. Force back. Wait for the mineral line, taking a lot of hits. Oh, 1 Immortal goes down. Arrogfire with some miscontrol. Likewise, that Prism taking some hull damage. Does take some damage. Phoenix production has begun for Classic. Phoenixes, they actually have a lot of utility here this early on, especially against a low amount of units, against a small army. Like 1 lift can make or break a fight. But the problem here is that, again, Arrogfire, he has just so many Immortals, and Classic is still down to 1. I mean, he can't make any more. The robe is a non-factor here. It's 4 Immortals for Arrogfire. Classic moving out. With his Prism, he gets spotted. Arrogfire has to make a choice. Does he commit, or does he defend back at home, or does he commit across the map? He's committing. He leaves the Stalkers back at home to defend. He's ready here in the main. Does spot the Prism. Oh my god. Massive volley goes off. Lift being spent on the Adept, which is a little bit concerning. Don't want to waste those lifts. Stalker is out of position. Probe's going to be going down. At the same time, Arrogfire pushing in towards that main. Does move towards the main base. Takes out 1 of the Immortals. Yeah, miscontrol out of Classic. Adepts shade into the main base as well. The Adepts should be cleaned up. But Classic down to 1 Immortal. Up against 4. And Arrogfire, he expands. That's all he has to do. Just expand and contain his opponent. Arrogfire, he doesn't have to push into the main. There's no need. He's far enough ahead. Like, he's up 10 workers. Gets controlled low ground. The force fields the ramp. Looks down the army. GG gets called. And Arrogfire ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. Whew. GG. We're going to game 5. Oh my god. And again, it's been a very intense, very short series. I'd say short series. We're going all the way to the ace match, but the games themselves have been very short and very intense. And we'll see how this story ends. We have yet to experience both players proxying and all-in each other. That still has not happened. What I will say, winding it back, it was just a really rough position for Classic. Because of how this series has played out, because we've had so much cheese and so much aggression, it makes sense for Arrogfire to scout that the pylon was missing and respond with the robo. So unfortunately, Classic, he was a little bit too, I would say, a little bit too obvious, a little bit too predictable. That's maybe a better word there. A little bit too predictable play there from a Classic. This time, Arrogfire, he played very safely, very defensively, and he was able to shut down the aggression, shut down the all-in. GG, well played. I'm not too fond of proxying here in the ace match. We'll see. The problem here, I mean, it goes both ways. If either player hides a pylon, if either player commits, the chances are there's going to be a robo follow-up from the defending player. Like, at this point, because of how the series has played out, there's a very high chance that's going to occur, and that'll make it even more difficult for the aggressing player to break them in an all-in. I am all for, like, a fake proxy pylon, though. 100%. We'll see. Or even like a proxy Stargate, right? Like a proxy Stargate opener into an expansion that could do well. Regardless, we're jumping in. We're jumping into the ace match. Here we go, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is a classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player. We have the purple Protoss representing Elite Esports. It is Arrogfire. We go. Who can tell who is who? Oh, we should ask them both to be teal and blue next time. True. But yeah, unfortunately, I guess this is maybe the worst with Protoss. You can maybe argue with some of the other races, but the base color is very much so yellow. It's very much so yellow here, and the purple and red accents aren't as noticeable. They aren't as noticeable, so really they're both yellow, really, when it comes to this. So it can be a little bit more difficult to distinguish the two. But here we go. We are going to be settling in. And so far, 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of Classic. Likewise, 2-gate opener out of Arrogfire. We go. Oh. As for the first time, is this the first time this series? I think so. I think for the first time this series, Classic throws down the second pylon in the main. Let's go. Has thrown down in the main. We actually have a standard setup here. Likewise, second pylon in the main base for Arrogfire as well. No one is proxying, no one is cheesing, and no one is faking a proxy either. Let's go. So we can embrace a longer game state. And also, welcome one and all to Gressvan. If you're a little bit newer to StarCraft, you may not have seen this map before. Gressvan was in the map pool a couple of years ago, back in 2022, I want to say, like coming into 2023. So it's been a couple of years since we've had Gressvan in the map pool. For those that are curious as to why we're casting on Gressvan, the OSC tournaments and the OSC Championship, as a result, they feature an extended map pool. Basically, the players and casters all vote on certain maps to be added to the map pool to spice things up. And the reality is that there are certain maps in the current ladder map pool that are, what's the best way of putting it? I'm not really seen too fondly of at the moment. God, I forgot to get rid of the tuna. I'm not really seen too fondly of, and because of that, even the players, as you can see here, are willing to play on some of these older maps instead of maps like, you know, Abyssal Reef, Neon Violet Square, King's Cove. They'd rather play on maps like Gressvan instead. So Gressvan is a map that was voted in for the tournament. Was voted in. And we're able to see it here and now. Do love to see it, do appreciate it. Behind this, Twilight Council. Twilight Council opener out of Classic. Likewise, Robo opener out of Arrogfire as well. So far, so good. So very safe opener out of Arrogfire, something more assertive out of Classic. Of course, Classic is going to gain map control with Blink Stalkers. That's going to be the added benefit here for the South Korean Protoss player. Arrogfire, he can start early Prism, early Immortal production to have a more robust army, but less maneuverable army. As the first step is shut down, the other does shade into the mineral line. Nothing to kill, nothing to really wreak havoc. So far, good defense here by Arrogfire. He will shut this down. Step is going to go down. And here comes the initial move out here from Arrogfire. As a reminder, he does have the faster War Prism. The Prism is here to reinforce, to move out. How many gateways? He's got 1, he's got 2, he's got 3. So a 3-gate opener out of Arrogfire. Hyper aggression, not an all-in, but very aggressive here from our French Protoss. And Classic back at home, what does he have? He has 1 shield battery. He should be down in gateways. Yep, he's down in gateways. He'll have a smaller army, but he does have the shield battery to support. Is it going to be enough? Classic half his army's in the main. Uh-oh. Is out of position. Force fields get locked down. First Stalker is gonna fall, trading 1 for 1. Oh, the pick on micro. Saves Stalker, saves sentries as well. 1 sentry does fall. So far, Force fields just locking everything down. But the Force fields are running out. Arrogfire pushing in. Boys are being pulled. Can Classic survive? Can he hold on? Takes out the Stalker. A lot of probes gonna be falling. There's so many Stalkers just locked behind the Forces. They do nothing. They cannot help. They cannot fight. Blink is not done. And it looks like Arrogfire, he's done it. He breaks through. The Force fields are too good. And again, Blink is just now finishing up after the fight concludes, after there's almost nothing left. As Classic has lost control of the natural, Arrogfire pushing in. Breaks the natural expansion. And there's nothing left. There's nothing left. We're down to 4 Stalkers. The Force fields, they were too good. Blink will save the Stalkers at least, but not the base, not the expansion. Another good Force field, looking down another Stalker. Gateways under fire. And I mean, Classic has already lost so many workers behind this. Back at home, Arrogfire getting a 4th gateway, getting another, just more production. Able to reinforce. Losing another Stalker. GG gets called, and Arrogfire, he will take the series 3-2 in a massive upset. He knocks Classic out of the tournament. GG. GG, well played, Arrogfire. He will claim the series. Coming into this Classic, he was the favorite player to win the series, to make a deep run in this tournament. He's one of the big names in the OSC Season 12 Championship. But we didn't get any macro here, and I would have favored Classic in a standard macro game coming into 2, 3, 4 base saturation. Even before that, I would favor Classic here, but this was a very intense series, non-stop all-ins, cheese, aggression from both players, not just from Arrogfire, from Classic as well. In the end, after this intense knife fight of a PvP, Arrogfire comes out on top. GG well played. Once again, when it came to the initial openers, it does take a little bit longer for Blink to come into play. As we saw, Blink did not finish until the end of the fight, and it was just really unfortunate that the fight did commence with Classic not quite seeing the army moving out across the map. Didn't see it moving out. He had half his Stalkers in the main base, so the fight commenced with half his army out of position. Likewise, because of that, a lot of those Stalkers never really came into play because of the Force fields. Like, it was so important there that Arrogfire, he was able to lock down the army, lock down the ramp specifically, made sure that there was most of the army, if not half of the army, just not able to engage. Boys were being pulled. Once again, Force fields also cut them off as well, and yeah, with that, Arrogfire did snowball out of control. GG, well played. It does claim the series, does take the first win of the day. Congratulations. Congratulations to Arrogfire. My condolences to Classic as he is knocked out of the tournament. And we'll see if we get any other crazy upsets here tonight, because we're getting ready for our next series here, for our next match. We're going to be loading into a PvZ between Mixu and Creator. Let's go.